There's a long list of guys who have leapfrogged Luka Dončić in this league, and I no longer want to hear him placed in the top 5 in the NBA because of the stats, because the eye test tells me, when you watch basketball, the eye test tells me that Luka Dončić is not a top 5 player in the league because what he does on a defensive end is so abhorrent. You have to discredit what he does on the offensive end to a degree. You know, sometimes you get a player like Luka Dončić and you think he's going to change the face of your franchise for the better because he's so talented on the court, but it seems like Luka is getting on everybody's damn nerves, Samaria. I don't know if you saw, but yesterday during the game, him and JJ Redick got into it. Clearly there was tension. Jared Vanderbilt had to put himself in between JJ and Luka, or restrain Luka rather. Do you think the magic of Luka Dončić is starting to wear off?
Yeah, and that's kind of tragic. You know, we've seen instances like this happen where you have, you know, your star player and your coach maybe go at it. We just saw this, you know, in the NFL with AJ Brown and Nick Sirianni. And it seems like when you're winning, it's all love, right? But then when you start to struggle, then it's like, okay, so people are noticing these little things more. We know that Luka and JJ both played together. And I wonder if JJ Redick is like, maybe those are some of the things that he noticed being close to him before. And he's like, look, I'm trying to get the best out of Luka. I've seen people talk about maybe it was effort that Luka is not putting in on the defensive side of the ball. And, you know, it seemed like JJ was just trying to coach him, just like maybe he would coach anybody else. And Luka had no parts of it. But yeah, I mean, I think that Luka is going to have to take a look in the mirror for real and try to understand what is it, because we gave him a lot of grace following the trade from Dallas. We were like, oh, you know, there were rumblings within the Dallas organization about maybe Luka and his weight and effort and things that he wasn't doing and what have you. And we gave him a lot of grace when he went to LA because he seemed to, you know, have turned the corner. But now it seems like those things are rearing their ugly heads again. And I think it's going back to him.
The Lakers are in a bit of a tough spot. Obviously, you know, you want Luka Dončić in a Laker uniform because he's so talented. But we got to talk about the culture that Luka brings, right? For everything that people can say about LeBron James, you know, he has a strong hold on organizations, and at times his personality can be a bit annoying. Whatever people say about LeBron, you could never say that he did not give maximum effort, right? And regardless of who you had out there on the court with LeBron James, you always had a chance to win. With Luka Dončić, man, there seems to be like you need a certain level of perfection in your roster construction in order for a team with Luka Dončić to have the kind of success that an organization like the Lakers have as a standard every single year that they participate in the NBA. Like, this Lakers team is not constructed to fit what Luka does well. You don't really have a lob threat. You don't really have a bunch of shooters and wing defenders. And so this team is struggling. When LeBron, Luka, and Austin Reeves are out there on the court together, they don't play that well. Right now, the Lakers are sitting at 6th in the Western Conference, and it's because their 3 best players are all either old or defensive liabilities. And so at Luka's young age, he should be the guy that you can rely on both offensively and defensively. And unfortunately, that's just not the case with the kind of player that he is. And so frustration is starting to come to the surface. Like, JJ Redick is a self-proclaimed psychopath. He will tell you, I have no fear. So he's going to approach Luka with the same level of tenacity that he would as if they were still teammates. And I don't know if Luka is the kind of person that responds graciously to that level of correction, or if it puts him into somewhat of a hole and he kind of resorts back to being like an ass. Luka has ass in him, like all great players do. But yeah, I think the Lakers I think they're in a bit of a tough spot, man. I don't know. Is this the guy that you want to be the face of your franchise?
Right.
For the next 7 to 10 years? You know,
right.
do you max out Austin Reeves? Do you give Austin Reeves a max contract and then you have Luka and AR as your 2 franchise players and they take up so much money, but neither one of them can contribute on the defensive? I don't know, yo. It's tough. And I love Luka. Let me be very clear, but it's tough.
Yeah. And he cost a pretty penny as well. You know, it does suck. I feel like I don't think that I could be a professional coach. You know, if you have a front office that doesn't really see the inner workings of a team and a roster, right? You would look at that situation and think it's JJ. Because you're like, Luka is our future. And we put all of this into Luka. The coach is expendable. We can just throw him away and get another one. And I think that's what, like, it just sucks because once you get to that level of stardom, some people feel like you can't tell me nothing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like I couldn't coach it. I couldn't do it.
Yo, Luka for the last 5 to 7 years has been regarded as a top 5 basketball player in the world. And this season alone, he's been leapfrogged by several players. I saw this conversation going around online, and I want to just let people know where I stand. I would take Cade Cunningham over Luka Dončić. I would take Jaylen Brown over Luka Dončić this season. And in certain instances, I might even want to take a guy like Jalen Brunson, contingent upon what the rest of my roster is constructed like, because the way that Luka plays, man, it's so tough to like have a guy that ball dominant and everybody else has to just stand around and kind of watch him go one-on-one isolation. We've never seen an NBA team win with that level of like ball dominance. You know, he's very much like James Harden in that regard. So in the off chance that he's having an off night, to find your rhythm when you don't have the ball in your hands, and I don't know, man. I don't know. I know Luka's a phenomenal talent. I know on the offensive end, you know, he does things that very few people who have ever touched the basketball can do. But in this NBA, I don't know if he's the guy that can win you a championship unless you have the absolute perfect roster, which Dallas damn near had a couple of years ago when they played the Boston Celtics. But,
you know, this is a lot different than your sentiments earlier in the season.
Yeah. I mean, but
y'all was riding high for a little bit.
Well, I was always, maybe on this show, but in my group chat, I was always I was skeptical because I never trusted Deandre Ayton. I never felt like Deandre Ayton was going to be that guy, right? And if Deandre Ayton came in here and he was playing like, hell, if he was just playing like Jared Allen, you know what I mean? If he was playing like Bam Adebayo, maybe the ceiling for this team would be a little bit higher. But, you know, he got benched the other night. You would hope a guy who was taken as high as he was, I believe he was the number 1 draft pick to Phoenix some years ago, but like, he's playing worse than Derek Lively. He compared himself to Clint Capella. Clint Capella gave effort every single night and didn't mind playing a role. For some reason, DeAndre Ayton has it in his head that he's like a star. And it's like, dog, that's not who you are, nor is that the role that is required of you on this team. You're not like that. And 2 other teams have already showed you that you're not like that. So if with Luka Dončić, you don't understand that you got to be a rim runner and sprint up and down the court, then you're an idiot. And your basketball IQ has to be in the gutter to not understand the role that you have to play on this team in order for this team to be successful. So you can shut your ass up and you can get out too.
My question is, what do you think the Mavericks front office is thinking right now because of the decisions that they've made? We're starting to see things unravel, maybe, possibly in Los Angeles. What do you think they're thinking?
Oh, I think, well, Jason Kidd probably, Nico Harrison, who's obviously since been fired. They are both looking at the situation and being like, that's the reason we got rid of him.
This is what I was just saying. Yeah.
Yeah, it's vindication for Nico Harrison, who people, you know, say a whole bunch of things about. But at the end of the day, like, it's quite obvious the reason why he wasn't so sold on Luka Dončić and he felt like he had to make that move. Now, what happened in the aftermath with Dallas getting rid of Anthony Davis for, you know, pennies on the dollar, I think was crazy. But they got a guy who at the very least in Cooper Flagg is going to give them effort. They have a strong voice in mind in Kyrie Irving, who is not going to play this season, but going forward, they have him at the very least as a trade chip if he doesn't decide to play for the Mavericks because they too far back in their development process. But the Mavs are in a good spot. You know, they'll get a good draft pick this year, and they got a young guy who's kind of the antithesis of what Luka Dončić is. And that's somebody who plays extremely hard and gives maximum effort on both ends of the floor day in and day out. You know the age-old adage, you know, talent is great, but if it doesn't work hard, then who gives a damn about talent? So,
and you got to be coached. And I think that that could be another story for another day. But, you know, the younger generation, they don't want to be coached anymore.
Some of them do.
Some of them do. But I mean, like, I'm talking about some of the young, like the young, like in college, high school, like.
Oh, well, the money, yeah.
Yes. It's too much money now. So once they get to the pros, it's going to be like.
Victor Wembanyama, Jaylen Brown, Cade Cunningham, Anthony Edwards. I might even take Devin Booker. There's a long list of guys who have leapfrogged Luka Dončić in this league. And I no longer want to hear him placed in the top 5 in the NBA because of the stats, because the eye test tells me, when you watch basketball, the eye test tells me that Luka Dončić is not a top 5 player in the league because what he does on a defensive end is so abhorrent that you have to discredit what he does on the offensive end to a degree. And also what he does on offense at times can come across quite selfish as well. Great player, phenomenal player, all-time great offensive player. But he's not top 5. Might not even be top 7.
You know, I'm also curious to know what LeBron is thinking. But you all drop down in the comments and you let me know what you think LeBron is probably thinking right now in the future of the Los Angeles Lakers after this viral moment between JJ Redick and Luka Dončić. Let us know down below.
For sure, man. Then make sure you tap into our newsletter. The link is in the bio, keeping you abreast of all things going on in the world of sports. Peace.